Hello artists, and I hope you're having a good day so far. Just putting on my microphone. Today we're going to do something that requires the same skills, but a couple of different things we're going to do, and that is we're going to take a small item. This is a shell. It's quite small, and because it's so small, I'm going to enlarge it. So I'm just going to show you the basics of how I do that. It's a lot those same skills of measuring, and I'm going to use a pen. So I've got a pen. I've also got my regular pencil, but of course there will be no erasing because you can't really erase the ink very well, but usual warm up. So let's get started. Oh, and I was going to just show you a couple of sketches that I've done in the past with ink. So this one is in the city, of course you can see, and then a bridge going over, and just a lot of times the suggestion of trees, but I really enjoy working with ink. These are, I think, Pentel, and they're various fineness of tips. So if you feel like splurging on something like that, it's really fun to do and work in that. Here's another one that I did. And these would be on, more artist paper, in a sketchbook, and I would have just cut them out. So just a lot of lines, and then the suggestion of the trees. And the thing about when you work with ink is you just don't want to be too worried about making mistakes. So it's a really good way to get beyond the idea of trying to make something perfect. So let's dive into the enlarging. So same thing, we're going to work on the relaxation aspect of doing this, because it's really enjoyable to have that focus on something like drawing or music. As I said, my other channel is about teaching people to play an instrument. So it's ukulele, which is a lovely accessible instrument for, as a springboard instrument to get started or what have you. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to look at the subject, and there's the spiral of the shell itself, which is beautiful, but as I said, it's so small. Let's do our warm-ups first, and I might do a little bit in pencil and pen. So I know that I'm going to be doing some shading. So I'm just going to start with my lines again, and I'm not moving I'm moving the wrist here, and then I'll switch to pulling with just the fingers coming down, and then I'll reverse up to work those muscles in all directions so that I can begin to pull better, straighter lines as I go and get those muscles more developed. And I have a backup pen at the ready, because I do all my videos in one take because editing is not my thing. So I'm going to switch and see how we do here. So this one I think is also black. And again, you're just spending as much time. It's just a really enjoyable thing to do. On the angle, about 3 inches in height. You could do it a bit more. A regular board that you'd have around possibly, or grab one. You don't need anything professional. A clipboard would work. So now I'm going to start to do some circles, and those ellipses in the bottle, let's do some of those. So basically the ellipsis, if you're thinking about it, it's a circle, but it's just the angle of the full circle. So you could trace a circle down from the top of the bottle and then slowly start to do the ellipsis within the circle, and just practice doing that, and then the other way, and then just have fun with some shading, making a little bit of this. Okay, so I'm going to leave that just as is and not do too much of that. I know that I want to have a shell that's big enough so that I feel like it's filling up this space, and so I'm probably going to do the size of it times 3. And I'm not, again, working for perfection. I'm just doing the representation. I've got my light source coming in. You can see that there's the shadow from the cast item. There's the shadow on the item itself from the absence of light. And yeah, just some little striations of marks, and the shadow is mainly here. So I'm going to use my same technique to measure. I'm sitting up straight, checked in, belly relaxed, Nice deep breath, and I'm going to grab a measurement from the back end, keeping this at a distance of about 2 inches, to the tip at the front. So this, the greatest length of the shell at its widest or longest point, I would say. So then I'm going to put a mark here, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put a mark there. So that's my 1, 2, 3, 3 times as big. So I took the original measurement, I got it and I grabbed it. I'm going to take it again. So the measuring is going to be a bit tedious to do, but it will pay off. So there's 1. So then I'm going to take that now, and you don't need a ruler, but if you wanted to use one. Okay, so then that's that length, and then I'm going to come across from the widest point from here to here, again, fully extend, come across, grab the measurement. Now, where to put it in relation to this measurement, actually I'm going to take another one. I'm going to come from where I took the width, and I'm going to come down to the bottom edge, and then I'm going to place it here at my first, and I'm going to go 1, let me just grab that again. So it's quite short because it is so small. So you have to have something small in order to sort of make it bigger. So there's my 1, 2, 3, roughly, right? So then that's from there to the bottom edge here where it's curving. And then I'm going to come across, I'm looking at it. So I've got this length, now I've got this. So I'm going to now take the width from that same spot. And I'm going to grab that measurement, arm out, eye closed if you want, place it there. 2, 3, no, we've already done that one. We're going to go to the height, sorry. Height from the top to the shadow edge, right? And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Good, so there. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take from, not the full length, but from the height of it here to where it hits the table. And again, I have to go 1, 2, 3. So here's my table area. And then I'm just going to curve around and join some of these lines. And I'm referring to it to try to approximate the curve of it. You could be a lot more precise when you're doing it, but as I've said previously, I don't want the videos to be too long. So there's my back edge, curving around, and I'm going to come here because the spiral is going to be right in here, and we're going to deal with measuring that in a minute. Curve around, up top. It's a bit straight there. And then curve to that point. So that's my basic shape of the shell. Then I'm going to take the spiral measurements. So from the top of the shell, that edge, to where the first spiral line is, I'm going to take that very small measurement. 1, so it's 1. Let me grab it. It's very small, so 1. And then I can grab it from the paper. 1, 2, 3. And then the edge of the shell to where that spiral comes over to here. Quite small. 1, 2, 3. And then from the bottom of the shell to where I can see the very tiny spiral there, the measurement is 1, 2, 3. And then I can come around and join these. So I get the sense, and then the spiral line I can see here. I'm going to go to this back edge, and then I'm going to come and see the measurement. 1, 2, 3, so the curve is like here. And how far is it off of the ground? Actually, it meets the tabletop there. I can see it's hitting the tabletop. So we've got this one coming here, and it's disappearing. So that's the first spiral. And now the one that comes in from here, the tiny measurement between this edge and the spiral. So it's really minute. So 1, 2, 3. And then from the top to that second inner spiral. Or you could take the spiral, the inside from here to here measurement. It doesn't really matter as long as you're multiplying it by 3. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going more quickly than I would if I was not trying to get the video in half an hour time. So there's that inner one. And then there's how many more? There's one, and then it sort of smudges into the middle. So I'm just going to freehand that. And then I can see that there's the shell's been worn away by the ocean. So now I'm referencing between this and what I've got there, and if I see any glaring errors. So now I know, just like when I did my other subjects, I've got these areas that are going to give it the illusion of 3 dimensions. So there's the big shadow cast. So I'm going to measure it from the edge of the shell at the bottom to the edge of so from here to here. And then I'm going to grab that measurement with arm extended, one eye closed, and I'm going to come from here, 2, 3, so it's going to come right out. So I'm going to end up shifting this. Let's take it again. So the full length of the shadow from the bottom of the shell is 1, 2, 1. Let's mark it. And this is, of course, going in. 1, 2, 3. And then from here to here of the shadow. So I'm sitting up again, arm out, grabbing the shadow from this edge to where it comes out here. And I'm going to mark it. I'm approximating where it starts. Because again, it's not meant to be a photographic reference. So there's my cast shadow. And then where this curve starts, I'm going to grab a measurement there, and then I have to multiply it by 1, 2, 3. So I note here, and then I can join, and then I get to do the areas. Now I'm probably going to take my pencil and mark in the darkest areas that need to be. So this area, of course, is going to be, so I'm not doing it too hard, but this is a moderate value compared to how dark it is right here, but still quite dark. So we're going to have fun with the pen. And then this area, I'm seeing some other, and of course here where it's away from the light. This is moderately, but this area here, so you could do sort of that legend idea where you show yourself the areas that need to be gone into with different degrees of darkening. Okay, so now if my pen is going to work, I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to, in the same direction, I think, because that would look best, but curving like we did with the others. As we come around, and it disappears over the side there, but it's all through the shell here, as it's absent from light on that side. And then I'm going to squint and see where the darkest is, so it's going to be here. I'm going to apply more of that material from the pen in that area. And I'm squinting, and it's falling off into smaller here and tailing off to the end. It's just so enjoyable as you add that stuff out of the pen, and you're really focusing. And so when you're focusing like that, you're excluding a lot of other input into the brain. So it's a really wonderful thing to do. And if you're not a fan of meditation, which many people find so difficult to do, is that this is a quasi form of it, so it's so beneficial. And again, I'm squinting, and then those lines. So I'm going to really tug into these lines here with a bit of up, up, up. So this is just a regular household pen. You know, as I said, you can invest in those artists. They dry out fairly quickly, but they are a treat to have. I shouldn't have made that little curve there, but that's okay. It's very forgiving. You just go over it and thinking, okay, this is this area, and when I look back at it, yes, that's the one that's got the most shadow. And then I'm going to come in here and do these cute little lines going, my goal is here. So I'm going to just and then, did I do that one? Yeah, that's okay. So I'm going to come here and put these here. Shells are so amazing, and they've got that Fibonacci spiral in them, which is found in so many things in nature. It's interesting to read up on that. Okay, so then I can see, I think there's this one going this way. Back and forth with your eyes, shifting to your drawing and then back to the object. Crossing, making little, and then I'm going to come back in here. So you can move all over your drawing. You don't have to stay in one area, but whatever your preference, whatever you like doing. You know, I'm not keen on precision as much as just enjoying what I'm doing and getting some kind of representation of the object if I can. So that shadow here, again, we can do some fun little lines coming just right, pull. You're not getting the same thing with a pencil, so you might have to come back in a bunch and go over it. Because with the pencil, you can get varying amounts of the graphite onto the paper, whereas with the pen, you have to go over the area. So I can see that it's angling away here. I've got some good highlights that I preserved quite easily with the pen. And it's kind of dwindling in terms of little beard kind of thing here underneath. And this is too light. Although there is a reflection off of the table that I can see, so I'm going to preserve some of that by staying out of this area to let it happen. There we go. Some sort of lines of the shell itself here, here. Coming back into this area. Pulling from as it curls around in its organic shape. There's a bit of highlight here. Mostly the darkness is here and in the shadow. And this is a bit too stark, so I'm going to blend it out by adding more to that area where it meets the first swirl. And these. Okay, so now I'm gonna come into the shadow, and this is all basically the same amount of value, except for where it's really close to the shell, although it's quite dark. So I can really feel my forearm muscle doing its thing. So I've come this way and this way, so I might come through this way in the cross hatching and just moving to the shape of the shadow itself, like coming around. And then I'm probably gonna come and just do a bit more in here. Now I'm just depositing the material on there willy-nilly, trying to get the effect of the shell. And then there's kind of this little point here. What am I thinking? So I'm assessing what I see. If I wanted to add anything else, I'm not happy with this area. I don't know if my pen's actually coming out with any material anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to represent what it's sitting on. This is a bit more angly here, which I think would look better. The shadow. And then there's quite a point. And then the table. So I'm just going to swirl it up to represent the table. And I could spend a lot more time tiddling around with the swirls and doing a little bit more on it, but I'm happy with the way that it's come out for the video, so that it shows you not to be afraid of using pen and just swirling around, how to enlarge an item. And so that's, basic. You just do it freehand the way that I was doing it. And so I hope you found that helpful. I hope you take something that's small and enlarge it. And if you found the video helpful, please share, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.